demand, first we have to set up the framework. That is, under what kind of environment supply, the seller, and demand, the buyer, would interact with each other. In chapter 3, we assume the seller and the buyer interact in what we call a competitive market. So, how do we define a competitive market? A competitive market must satisfy four assumptions. First, there must be many buyers and sellers. So when there are many buyers and sellers, all the sellers are competing against each other to find customers. And all the buyers are also competing against each other to find the product to buy. So in this way, many buyers and sellers mean none has power to set the price. So imagine when there are many sellers in the market, you set a higher price, no one will buy from you. You set a lower price, you will not be that stupid. If everyone is selling the product for $5, you will not be selling for $4 because you will be losing profit. The buyer is the same. When everyone is paying $5 to get the product, you try to pay $4, no one will want to sell to you. And you will not want to pay more than others because you will be wasting money. So many buyers and many sellers imply no one has the power to set the price. In other words, everyone is a price taker. Everyone in this market, they take the price as given, and they respond to the price they see in the market the best way they can to maximize their profit or maximize their well-being. So this is the first assumption. Many buyers, many sellers. Everyone is a price taker. The second assumption is that all the buyers consider the product the sellers sell as identical in a very general sense. So in other words, when you walk into a farmer's market, the farmers are selling eggs, and their eggs are pretty much the same size, same color. So in other words, it doesn't matter whether you are a farmer from Scarborough or a farmer from Mississauga. All the farmers in this market selling eggs, all the buyers consider the eggs these farmers sell in the farmers market as identical. They don't pay attention whether this egg is coming from Mississauga or from Scarborough. In other words, all the sellers face numerous perfect suffering. So, if you are a farmer selling the egg, there are other farmers selling the eggs that the consumers consider to be identical to the eggs that you sell. Then you would have a perfect substitute to your eggs. And next, everyone has perfect information. So, what does this assumption do about perfect information? For the buyers, they know product features and where to buy at the lowest price. In other words, the sellers cannot fool the buyers. So imagine if the buyers they don't get perfect information. So the McDonald's in Scarborough selling Big Mac for $8 for a Big Mac. Downtown they sell Big Mac for only $6. Why? Because in downtown they only give you one meat patty. So the downtown McDonald's is actually ripping you off. But if you don't have perfect information, this is what the sellers will do. They will take advantage of the situation. So in other words, the buyers will not be fooled by what the sellers say. And they will not be ripped off by the sellers. To the sellers, they know the best way to offer their product. In other words, the least costly way. So, perfect information for sellers means everyone knows the cheapest way to produce and the cheapest way to deliver the product to their buyers. And therefore, everyone has the same cost structure. No one will have cost advantage. Because if we allow one firm to have cost advantage over the other firms, then this firm can actually charge a lower price and kill all other competitors. Then this market will not have many firms. This market will only have one firm left. That will be the firm with cost advantage. Therefore, for us to have many firms, many sellers in the market, all these sellers must be equally competitive in terms of cost efficiency. And last, free entry and exit. Firms, they can enter this industry, enter this market, and offer this product if they think it is profitable. Or firms may choose to leave this market if they are losing money, because no firms want to run the business to lose money. So enter or exit, it all depends on profit. Do they expect to make profit, or are they losing money? Now the reason why we need to have free entry and exit, because this is how the market adjusts. Now imagine, if firms are not free to enter, that means if one firm can block other firms from entering the industry, then this firm can become a monopoly. Look at Hydro. Why we only have one Hydro in Ontario? Because Hydro takes up Niagara Falls, the most efficient way to generate electricity using water power. And no other firms can get in there to do the power generator under the Niagara Falls. And that's why Hydro has a monopoly power. then there will only be one firm, not many firms. That's why we need free entry and exit to make sure we have enough firms so that we have many sellers. So now, we have the setting of the market, a competitive market. Next, demand. What exactly is demand? Demand is the quantity buyers would like to purchase in a given period. Now this is most often ignored or omitted in most of the textbooks. But without a given period, the demand would not make sense. So for example, if I ask you, what is your demand for beer? Without asking you in a given period. So you may say, well, I drink 5,000 beers. Really? Yeah, over my lifetime. So this is not much. If you drink 5,000 beers over your lifetime, it is pretty much like one beer every 2 days. It's not heavy drinking at all. But if people say, I drink 5,000 beers in a month, then this guy's going to die soon. So demand must come with a time frame. If not, it will not make sense. And now, next, the quantity people would like to buy. Demand may not be what people actually end up buying. Just like when I ask you guys, how many of you would like to have your own house or own condominium unit? Many of you will say, yeah, I would like it. But when I tell you it costs $2 million to get one unit, you said, oh, I will think about that first. Now, it is what they would like to get. It may not be what they actually end up getting. So, this decision is being affected by 7 major factors, what we call demand determinant. This means these factors determine the quantity people would like to purchase in a given period. Now we group them into 7 major items. Of course, there are other 2, but that will not be the major consideration. So this demand determinant, first, when you walk into a store, you see a product, the first thing you will look at, of course, is the price of the product itself, what we call the home price. Most people will look at the price tag first. Second, they will look at prices of related items. That is, imagine you walk into a supermarket. You want to get a box of breakfast cereal. So besides looking at the brand that you used to eat, you will also look at other brands. Are other brands on sale? So that's why prices of related items will also affect the quantity that you would like to buy. Next, when you go to the checkout, you need to look at, do you have money to pay for it? That is, before you actually go and buy, you need to ask yourself, do you have income to pay for this purchase? Next, your taste. Would your taste and the product that you see they actually met each other. And expectation. What you expect to happen will affect your decision today. Now, for example, if the weather network telling us this winter will be crazily cold, we will start getting snow in October, and we will have many snowstorms. So what will people do? When they expect the winter is going to be cold, next thing you know, tomorrow, when you go to Yorkdale, there will be a long line up outside Canada Goose. So people's expectation will affect their desire to purchase certain products. Next, number of buyers in the market. So more buyers in the market, of course, they will be buying more units. Last but not least, weather. Weather plays a very important role because whatever you buy will be related to weather. Like the Canada Goose example, more weather, more people will want to buy winter clothing. Or when the weather is hot, like a couple of weeks ago, people would be going to the beach. Fewer people will go to the movie theater to watch movies because they need more sunshine to get suntan before the school year starts. Imagine if you come to the first part and you are so pale as if you were hiding underground the entire summer. You look so lame. So this is why people want to go to get suntan before the school year starts, as if they are very outdoor and they went to some kind of vacation. Now, for these 7 determinants, we put them into 2 categories. The first one is separated. Why? Well, because, don't forget, demand is about the quantity we want to buy. And the demand curve that we know is always about price of the product itself, the own price, and the quantity. In other words, the demand curve is telling us this relationship. And that's why the price of the product has a very special relationship with the quantity people would like to buy, which separates itself from the other 6 determinants. So now let's look at the price. This is the demand curve based on what we call the law of demand. This tells us this curve is downward sloping. That means you want people to buy more, the price must drop. So that's why typically the demand curve is downward sloping, because for most people, on most products, they will buy more only if the price drops. So as we move along this demand curve, as the price drops, you will increase what we call the quantity demand. So this is what the demand curve tells us. The demand curve tells us how people respond to the price change. Because the buyers are price takers. When the price drops in the market, they respond to the price drop with a larger quantity demand. And this is movement along. this demand curve, like here, moving along the demand curve in this direction. When the price drops, people would like to buy a larger quantity. And therefore, what we see in here is that change in price, the triangle, the delta, means change. Change in price triggers response. Change in quantity demand. And that implies we have a movement along the demand curve, what we call a change in quantity demand. This change in quantity demand is triggered by the change in price. As we see demand curve telling us the response of the consumers to the price change. So this is why the first determinant, the own price, is separated from the other 6 determinants. Because the other 6 determinants, they are the anchors. Now, what do we mean by anchors? Anchors help a boat to secure a position in the water. In other words, these factors help the demand curve fix in a certain position. This relationship of the demand curve is because of the given anchor. That is, with given income, given taste, given expectation, given revenue, all the other anchors being given, you change the price, then this is how people respond with the quality demand, holding all the anchors being given, like fixed. And now, if these anchors change, you all know when you drop the anchor into the water, it helps secure your boat in a certain location, like the location of the demand curve. But when you change the anchor to a different position, the boat will drift to another position in the water due to the current. So that's why when these anchors change, you will have a shift in the demand. And this is why we need to separate the first factor from the other 6 factors. The first factor, you move along a given demand curve. All these factors will result in a shift in the demand curve. Let's look at these one at a time. So, prices of related items. This is the demand. Suppose this is the demand for big trucks. The pickup trucks that people drive. And we all know that the bigger the car, the less fuel efficient. Because the car is heavy. It takes more gas to move the car around. And now, imagine if there's a sharp increase in gasoline price. You buy a truck, you cannot go anywhere without gasoline. And therefore, the truck and gasoline, they are related. So if there's a sharp increase in gasoline price, and these trucks, they are big gas guzzlers, then at every price of the truck, now fewer people would want to buy the big truck because it is more expensive to drive in the big truck when the gasoline price is very expensive. On the other hand, if you look at a different market, this is the demand. And this time, this market is, let's say, beer. And now, there's a sharp decrease in Blue Jays ticket price. So if you watch TV, you look at people in the stadium watching the baseball game, a lot of them will be holding a cup of beer in their hand. So if you have a lower Blue Jays ticket price, that means more people will go into the stadium. Then, in the stadium, you get more people, then more people will be drinking. At every price, there will be more people in the stadium, more people drinking. Then, you could have an increase in demand. So, when we have a shift in the demand curve because we have a change in one of the anchors. We call this an increase or decrease, or simply change in demand, which is a shift. Because the entire demand curve has relocated to another position. This is the change of the entire demand curve. That's why we call this a change in demand. And now, you should be able to distinguish when you will be moving along the demand curve, which is when the price of the product itself changes. You will move along a given demand curve. But if one of the anchors changes, you will be shifting the demand curve. We will call that the change in demand. Make sure you can distinguish the difference between movement along and shift. If you cannot distinguish these two, you are not going to survive in this course. Because whenever you need to move along, you shift, you get the wrong answer, and vice versa. So make sure you understand the distinction between movement along and shift. Now for these two products, they are belonging to what we call companies, because they are being consumed or used together. Of course, you will have the opposite example in which it will give you a different kind of shift. This time, this is the demand for Coca-Cola. If there is the price drop in Pepsi, if the price on Pepsi drops, then people buy more Pepsi, and therefore some Coke drinkers switch to Pepsi, and therefore at every price the demand for Coke shift to the left. Because some people, they switch over to Pepsi when Pepsi becomes cheaper. In this case, we are talking about substitute. Coke and Pepsi are substitutes of each other. So, how do we define substitute and complement? Substitute means either this product or the other product, because they are competing against each other. It is either Coke or Pepsi. But the example we had earlier, for complement, they are consumed together. That means you use gasoline and your truck. You watch baseball game in the stadium and drink beer. So when the two products are being consumed together, one and the other, they are complement. When two products are competing against each other, people will buy one or the other, not and the other. Then we're talking about substitute. Next, income. If this is the demand curve, and this is Big Mac, when income goes up, what will people do? Now, imagine this is the demand curve for students, like most of you. Now, when I was a student, I used to eat 2 or 3 Big Macs every week. Cheap, well, fill up the stomach. Now, when this student graduates, making good, decent income, would they be eating more Big Macs or fewer Big Macs? Fewer. Because if you want to eat beef, you go to King. You eat the real beef, not the Big Mac meat patty. It doesn't taste like beef at all. I don't know what they put in there. So, when income goes up, people buy less. Why? Because at the higher income, this product is inferior. So, when you are making a lot of money, you want to treat yourself well, and you will not be eating stuff like this, Big Mac. So, now the product is inferior relative to your high income. Therefore, when income goes up, you buy less. That means this is an inferior good. Of course, when income goes up, people increase their demand, that is, buying more at every price. Then this is what we call the normal good. That is, under normal circumstances, your income goes up, of course you want to buy more. So in this example for that is a vacation. When you earn more money, of course, you want to take more time off to enjoy. That is, take more vacation. It is also possible when there's a change in income, no change in demand, i.e., this is what we call an income neutral product. You will not buy more. When your income goes up, your income comes down. The example for that, newspaper. Whether you are as rich as Warren Buffett, you will only read one copy of the Wall Street Journal every day. You will not be reading 2 copies identical copies every day when your income goes up. So some product will be independent of your income, what we call income neutral. Next, tapes. So let's go back to our Big Mac example. This is Big Mac. And now the consumer's taste change. They become more health conscious. So when the consumers are becoming more health conscious, obviously at every price they will be eating less Big Mac. So change in taste may result in favorable or unfavorable impact on the product. Depends on what taste we are talking about and what products we are talking about. Next, expectation. This demand represents the typical gasoline purchase on a Thursday. So typically on Thursday, the demand for gasoline will look like this. Now, how expectation affects the demand? If you expect after 11:59 tonight, the gas price goes up by $2. Instead of 171, tomorrow morning it will become 371. What would you do? Would you buy it now or buy it later? Buy it now. And therefore, whenever you see people checking the gas station or the radio station, when they find out there's a big increase in the gas price tomorrow, people will start lining up at the gas station to fill up their gas tank because they all want to buy now to avoid paying more. They want to buy it before the price goes up. The opposite is true. When they expect the price to come down, they will hold back the decision. Instead of buying now, they will wait for tomorrow if they expect the price to drop tomorrow. Now, the number of buyers is self-explanatory because if you have more people in Toronto, in the GTA area, if this is the demand for houses, more people living in GTA, obviously more people will buy houses. Increased population. All right. Last, weather. If this is the demand for ice cream cones at Metro Soup in the summer. So if this is the demand representing the demand for ice cream cones at the Metro Soup in the summer. And now, the weather. Heavy rain all summer. So if the weather is really bad this summer, no one will want to go to Metro Soup because mostly it is outdoor. And therefore, fewer people going to Metro Soup, fewer people will buy the ice cream cone at the Metro Soup. That's why weather will affect the demand as well. So now we have learned all the factors affecting the demand. Now the supply side is very similar to the demand side. That is, what is supply? Supply tells us the quantity sellers would like to offer in a given period. This is what they would like, not exactly what they will end up selling. And this quantity will be affected by, again, 7 supply determinants. Similar to the demand. First is own price. That is, for a business to decide how much it wants to sell, first it must check what price it can sell this product on the market. Because the higher the price it can sell the product on the market, the more profit it can make. So higher price will give them more incentive to bring more units to the market. Another one, like demand, prices of related items. The seller also sell. I will come back to that a little bit later. The third one is input prices. In other words, how much it costs to offer the product in the market, because it will affect the profit. Next, technology. I will come back to that a bit later. And then, fifth, expectation and number of sellers. Last, weather. So when you look at the determinant of supply and the determinant of demand, the first one the same, second one the same, fifth, sixth, seventh. Except these two are different between demand and supply determinants. So let's go through these 7 determinants. First, the own price, because the supply curve is typically upward sloping. That is the law of supply. That is, as the price goes up, if you can sell the product at a higher price, obviously you want to sell more because it will bring in more profit. And that's why it is upward sloping. This is the law of demand. Higher price will give the sellers incentive to increase the quantity supply. Just like demand, change in the price triggers the change in quantity supply. We call that change in quantity supply, and which represent the movement along the supply curve. As price goes up, you are moving along the supply curve to a higher point. Higher prices, you're going to offer a larger quantity in the market. Which is similar to the demand side story. And that's why once you understand the demand side story, you just flip it around. You apply that to the demand, supply side. Next. if this is the supply, this is the quantity. So let's say this is hot dog. For typical hot dog vendors on the street, a lot of them would be selling hot dogs and drinks. So if increase in the price of drinks, so what would the hot dog vendors do? The hot dog vendors, they are selling hot dogs and drinks at their store. So if the price of drinks goes up, which means it is more profitable. And therefore, they will use more space for drinks. And for the given space available for the hot dog stand, if the hot dog stand owner put in more space for drink, there will be less space for hot dog. And therefore, they will be selling fewer hot dogs at every price. Because now, relatively speaking, hot dog becomes less profitable than drink. And the sellers all want to maximize their profit. If another related product becomes more profitable, they want to sell more of that. And since they have limited capacity or space, they must cut back on something else. Next, input prices. So suppose this is supply of restaurant meals. Now for restaurants to serve meals to their patrons, they need to hire servers. And input prices would be including the labor wages. If the labor wages going up, that means it will now cost the restaurants more to serve the same number of meals every evening. And therefore, the price must go up. Not the restaurant charging higher price. It's that the restaurant would be willing to offer the same number of meals, but that must come with a higher price so that they will have the same profit, give them the same incentive to offer the same number of meals than before if the input prices go up. And that's why higher input prices, the supply curve will shift up. Next, technology. This is where most builders make mistakes. So now, suppose we have a new technology so that all the stores can use robots to serve their customers. So if that is the case, if all the stores, all the restaurants are now using robots to serve their customers, will they be selling more or less at every price compared to before? More. But the robot is going to cost them money. So why would they serve more? Now this is where most builders will make mistakes. When they look at the new technology will cost them money. Cost them money implies higher cost. So higher cost is like higher input prices. But this is wrong. You guys were right, because the technology is going to cause the supply curve shift to the right. Why? Because firms only adopt new technology if it pays for itself. So why the store will switch over to use robots? Because using robots is cheaper than using humans. Now, you walk into Walmart, you see many self-checkout lanes. Home Depot, same thing. Lowe's, the same thing. Why these stores are using self-checkout counters? Well, because this new technology will help them lower their costs, and therefore getting these new machines. The new machines will pay for themselves, and therefore firms will adopt it because it helps them to lower their costs. That's why supply shifts to the right. And now, if we use the same example about expectation, supply, demand, and this is the typical Thursday supply of gasoline, and expectation sharp increase in gasoline price. By $2 overnight. So if you operate a gas station, a supply of gasoline, and tomorrow the gas price will double, would you want to sell more or less today? Less. You want to keep the gasoline in the underground tank so that tomorrow you can sell this gasoline for double the price. So when gas stations expect the price to jump up significantly, most often you will see gas stations put out of order on their pump. Their pump is not out of order. So they simply shut down the pump so that they can conserve more gas in the underground tank for tomorrow, selling the same gas but for higher price. So for the sellers, when they expect the price to go up, supply will actually decrease. Number of sellers, same thing. So imagine this is the supply of cocaine in Toronto. And now, imagine you guys all going to graduate and cannot find a job. All you guys want is a cocaine dealer. There will be more cocaine dealers in Toronto, and therefore more cocaine dealers, more people selling drugs, there will be more drugs offered to the market at every price. So more larger number of sellers, supply shift to the right. Last, weather. This is a supply. This is supply for, let's say, oranges. And now, weather. Hurricane. Destroy half of Florida crops. Well, actually, early this summer, same thing, flood. No, not flood. It's because of the weather in California. So if half of the crops in Florida or oranges being destroyed by hurricane, then at every price, the crop yield will drop. You will see fewer oranges available in the market, in the supermarket. So that's how the 7 demand determinants and the 7 supply determinants affect the supply curve in terms of movement along, or the demand curve movement along, or the shift in this curve. After the break, we will have supply interacting with demand. Let's take a 10-minute break.